The Pitt is being called the most medically accurate hospital show ever made. Doctors are praising it. Nurses say it made them emotional. But after going through every episode, I found moments that would never happen in real hospitals, and things they got so right, it's almost disturbing. Here's what they're not telling you. Let's start with what The Pitt gets shockingly right that other medical shows always fake: the chaos. There's no dramatic music, no perfectly timed emergencies, just constant grinding chaos. Multiple patients arriving simultaneously. Nurses pulled in 6 directions. Doctors making decisions with incomplete information. This is real emergency medicine. Most medical shows make hospitals look organized with occasional drama. The Pitt shows the truth. Hospitals are barely controlled disasters every single shift. Here's what doctors are saying. It captures the exhaustion, the moral injury, the impossible decisions. One scene shows a doctor deciding between 2 critical patients when there's only one available ICU bed. This happens constantly in real life, but TV usually pretends every patient gets every resource they need. Now let's talk about what they got wrong. Episode 3 shows a trauma patient getting a CT scan within 5 minutes of arrival. Real doctors laughed at this. In actual emergency departments, getting a patient to CT takes 30 minutes minimum, sometimes hours. You have to stabilize them, get them registered, wait for the scanner, transport them, wait for the tech, then wait for the radiologist to read it. 5 minutes? Never happens. If you're learning what's real versus Hollywood in hospital dramas, hit subscribe. We're breaking down the medical accuracy that separates The Pitt from every other hospital show. Here's another unrealistic moment. Doctors having long philosophical conversations during active resuscitations. Episode 5 shows 2 doctors debating ethics while doing chest compressions. Real codes are loud, chaotic, and focused. Nobody's having thoughtful conversations. They're shouting medication orders and watching monitors. But here's what The Pitt nailed that's almost disturbing: the language. Medical jargon is used correctly without over-explaining. When they say, push 1 of EPI, they don't stop to explain that's epinephrine for cardiac arrest. This makes medical professionals feel like they're actually in a hospital, not watching actors explain medicine to an audience. Let's talk about the staffing issues the show depicts. The Pitt shows nurses managing too many patients, doctors covering multiple areas simultaneously, and techs pulled to departments they're not trained for. This is horrifyingly accurate. The scene where a nurse breaks down crying in the supply closet because she can't keep up? Nurses say that happens weekly. Here's something most viewers missed but healthcare workers noticed immediately. The show depicts real consequences of understaffing. Patients wait hours for pain medication. Critical labs get delayed. Mistakes happen because staff are overwhelmed. Now here's what's fake: how clean everything is. The Pitt shows a busy urban ER, but the floors are spotless and rooms are organized. Real emergency departments are messy. There's blood on the floor that hasn't been cleaned yet. Equipment is piled in corners. Stretchers line the hallways. The show sanitized the visual chaos while keeping the operational chaos. Here's what they got right about patient interactions: the frustration. Episode 2 shows a patient demanding antibiotics for a viral infection, arguing with the doctor, threatening to complain. This happens multiple times every shift. Patients who've self-diagnosed using Google. Patients demanding specific treatments that won't help. The show captures this perfectly. But here's what's unrealistic: how much time doctors spend with each patient. The Pitt shows doctors having extended conversations, carefully explaining conditions, sitting at bedsides. Real ER doctors see 20 to 30 patients per shift. They spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes with each patient. The extended bedside manner shown in the show is a luxury real ER doctors don't have. If you're seeing how The Pitt mixes reality with necessary drama, make sure you're subscribed. We're revealing what's authentic and what's Hollywood fiction. Let's talk about what The Pitt shows that other medical dramas ignore: the paperwork. Multiple scenes show doctors charting, entering orders, fighting with the computer system. Real doctors spend 40 to 50% of their time on documentation, not patient care. Most medical shows pretend charting doesn't exist. The Pitt shows doctors frustrated with electronic medical records. That's real. Here's what's inaccurate about the emergencies: the timing. A trauma patient arrives, gets scanned, goes to surgery, and has complications, all in one episode. Real trauma care involves hours of waiting. waiting for labs, waiting for scans, waiting for OR availability. The show compresses this into minutes for pacing. Now here's what medical professionals say is the most accurate thing: the moral distress. Doctors treating patients they know won't comply with treatment, discharging homeless patients back to the streets, watching patients die from preventable causes because they couldn't afford medications. The show doesn't offer easy answers. It just shows the grinding toll of working in a broken healthcare system. But here's what's unrealistic: how the show handles death. When patients die in the pit, there's emotional processing, staff support, time to reflect. In real hospitals, a patient dies, the body goes to the morgue, the room gets cleaned, and a new patient arrives within an hour. There's no time to process. Here's what doctors notice that regular viewers miss. The pit shows realistic medical errors. A nurse gives a medication at the wrong time. A lab result gets missed in the chaos. These aren't dramatic catastrophic errors. They're the small mistakes that happen constantly when systems are overwhelmed. Let's talk about what the show gets right about insurance and billing. Multiple scenes show social workers fighting with insurance companies, patients refusing treatment they can't afford, and doctors modifying care plans based on what insurance will cover. This is devastatingly accurate. Real medicine involves constant battles with insurance. Here's what's fake about those interactions: how quickly they're resolved. In the show, social workers make one call and sort things out. Real insurance battles take days or weeks. Prior authorizations get denied and appealed multiple times. Now let's discuss what The Pitt shows about hospital administration. Episodes depict administrators pressuring doctors to see patients faster, reduce admissions, and improve patient satisfaction scores. This is absolutely real. Hospital administrators make policies that doctors and nurses must follow. The tension between medical care and business metrics is constant. Here's something The Pitt nailed that healthcare workers found cathartic. The show depicts burnout accurately. Doctors making mistakes from exhaustion, nurses snapping at patients, staff becoming cynical. This isn't shown as character flaws. It's shown as inevitable consequences of impossible working conditions. Let's talk about the pandemic references. The Pitt is set post-COVID, and characters reference how the pandemic changed healthcare. Increased patient volumes, worse staffing shortages, more hostile patients. This is all accurate. Post-COVID, emergency departments are more crowded, more violent, and more understaffed than ever. Here's what's missing: the full scope of violence against healthcare workers. The Pitt shows one or two incidents of patient aggression. Real ERs have security incidents multiple times per shift. Patients punching nurses, family members threatening doctors. The show understates how dangerous emergency medicine has become. Now here's what medical professionals say is the most emotionally accurate portrayal: the relationships between staff. Nurses and doctors supporting each other during crises. The camaraderie that develops when people work impossible jobs together. The show captures this beautifully. What The Pitt ultimately gets right is the feeling. Healthcare workers watching the show report feeling seen in ways other medical dramas never achieved. The exhaustion, the frustration, the moral injury, the moments of dark humor, the impossible decisions, these are real. What they got wrong are the logistics. Timing is compressed, spaces are cleaner, resources appear faster than in reality. Conversations are longer than real doctors have time for, but these are necessary compromises to make television. So is The Pitt the most medically accurate hospital show ever? In many ways, yes. The language, the chaos, the systemic problems, the moral complexity, and the emotional toll are portrayed more realistically than any previous show. But it's still television. Real hospitals are messier, slower, more frustrating, and less dramatically structured. The Pitt is as close to reality as television can get while still being watchable, and that's both its achievement and its limitation. Healthcare workers appreciate finally being portrayed authentically, even if some dramatic license remains. For viewers, it's the closest you'll get to understanding what hospitals are really like without actually working in one.